Alright guys, just going to talk about forgive and forget and negative emotions. I mentioned before about forgive and forget, but it's important that you do both. Because one of the problems people say, well, they'll forgive somebody, but then they'll keep bringing it up, or they let it fester. So they say, oh yeah, I've forgiven you for that, and at the same time they haven't. For example, say somebody bumped the car, and then every time somebody they know has mentioned somebody's car being bumped, oh, I remember when such and such, and they'll bring it up and bring it up and bring it up. The point being is you don't really need that negative thing that's reoccurring. On top of that, it means it's in the back. If you're the person that actually keeps bringing it up, it's in the back of your mind all the time. So you've never really forgiven or forgotten. But in many cases, it's a bit more severe than that, in the sense that people bear a grudge. Well, there's no positive outcome on that. One of the things you've got to recognize is, if you're doing some actions to counteract something somebody did to you, what's the outcome? Is there a positive outcome, or is it just a waste of time? In reality, a lot of the time, it's a waste of time. You may have been ripped off, done over, whatever, but doing something back just creates this tit for tat that goes on, and there is no real winners out of that sort of scenario. In fact, a lot of time people end up just festering about it and getting upset, or sleepless nights, or just generally it doesn't help. So if you are going to forgive and forget, then you need to forgive and forget. And the forget is basically clean slate, as if it never happened. And the reason you do that is because it's completely forgotten, not really going to bring it up again, not really interested in bringing up the past at all, and you have really forgiven whatever happened. And you've got to work at that, because I know a lot of people don't do that. They like to bring up the past, but most of the time it's not healthy. The other thing is the negative emotions, because this sort of ties to this, but often it's tied to people's mental health issues as well. Because often, if they don't forgive, or they let these things fester, it can keep coming up and cause sleepless nights, cause other issues, make people more aggressive, etc., etc. Negative emotions are just part of life. It's what you do with them that's important. One of the things I do recognize is people shouldn't just hold them back. I mean, if you've got some negative emotions, you've got to release them and basically just recognize them. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anger, it could be frustration, it could be I don't know, what else have we got? Loss of somebody or whatever. You've actually just got to let it come out. When you suppress it, it's those bits of suppression that can actually cause more issues. So I'm not saying get all angry and start shouting at somebody. I'm talking about the fact is you just need to release from yourself, from within yourself, these issues that are reoccurring. And the reason a lot of these reoccur is because they're being suppressed and not actually being brought to the surface. Because once you've actually gone past being annoyed or whatever, it's released. And a lot of the time, you probably never have to have that same scenario again, simply because you've gone through the process of dealing with it and actually bringing it up. I know it sounds a bit strange, but I do recommend just releasing that negative thought, energy, whatever it is that's actually building up. And this is why it's sort of tied with the forgive and forget, because a lot of the time it's stuff people have done to us or something that's happened that builds this energy up in the first place, and then when you actually turn around and deal with one part, it will help get rid of it as well. You know, we all have bad things happen to us. It's how we deal with it's the important bit. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to forgive and forget everybody. If somebody's toxic, if somebody just simply is more trouble than they're worth, or there's another reason that you quite simply think that it's just not worth the hassle, or somebody's causing you a lot of stress, or somebody's creating problems, or quite simply you recognize they will never change, yet they are a thorn in your side. Nobody has a right to make you miserable at all. And this is where some people get really offended when you actually turn around and say, well, you know, I don't need to put up with that. I don't need it. I don't need you in my life. I don't like you. You bring a lot of negativity with you. You're never happy, etc. People don't like being told the truth. But at the same time, there's nothing saying you have to put up with it or even engage with them and say, look, I don't want to be your friend or whatever anymore. You simply just don't need to engage with them. And it's not just, you know, it's not just like your people you meet or whatever. It's also people you work with and stuff. Because if people are pushing you at work in a negative way, I mean, I've had it myself where where some people act as if they own you. If you let people do that, it's going to have a negative impact on other parts of your life. So first thing I do is, like, when people say, oh, you must do this, I always say there is no must. There's always choices. Because that's a bit of a warning to them that there's more to life than this job. But the point being is, if you let them push you and think, I'll just do it this once, it ain't just once. They're going to keep doing it because you've given in to them. And that's one of the big problems with this type of thing. Which is why if you start seeing that you're getting used, abused, or whatever, you need to stop it. If it's making you unhappy at home or making your life miserable, you need to stop it. And the same, like I was saying, if the person themselves are toxic, because some of them can be quite abusive, you know, in the sense like they could be, oh well, I have to work late, so you should have to work late. No, that's not how this works. I'm not going to be bullied into working late just because it suits you. It's my decision whether I work late, and you're not taking that from me just because you think you can demand it. So I just wanted to give a few tips this morning on sort of life stuff. Hopefully you found it useful, and thanks for listening.